business for you. The code of conduct law is our topic. Is this law being violated by officials of government? I don't know what you think, but I have the facts here for you, and we are going to go into them one by one. Folks, at this time, I want to welcome you to the Hour of Politics here at Focus on Liberia. Welcome to the broadcast, and thanks to those of you who have already shared. Now let's get to our topic. The Code of Conduct law was passed and signed in 2014. President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was the one who had affixed her signature on this beautiful law. I read it. I like it. There are a lot of things in this law that really would be able to strengthen governance in Liberia and how our government conducts business, especially how the behavior and the conduct of officials of government, those who are charged with the authority to govern all of us for us to have a decent country so that they can be able to conduct their activities in a way, manner, and form that will be able to make our nation and our governance process to be productive and effective so that people would not have to go through all kinds of unnecessary hurdles for us to have a government that we can be proud of. But this law, unfortunately, has not been obeyed, respected, instead being violated by individuals who have been assigned to the public trust. And so, folks, let's get started quickly. Let me bring you section 1.8 of the Code of Conduct of 2014. That is the code name of this beautiful piece of law in our country. And this section 8.1 talk about the use of government facilities. How do you think officials of government are using government facilities? Are they using the facility of government as spelled out in this law? This law supposed to is there to guide the use of government facility by officials of government. The question is, do we have officials of government who are abiding by this law, by this section, as to how to use government's facility? Well, let me read something for you from that very law. And that is section 8.1 of the law. It reads, public officials and employees of government shall use government facilities, including residential property, equipment, money, vehicles, computers, internet, and telephones for official purposes only. You heard that. Officials of government should use all government facilities, all government properties for official use only. That is a law. Anybody who behaves or does anything to the contrary, that person is in violation of the law. That is what the Code of Conduct of 2014 said in section 8.1. Let's come to the use of vehicles in Liberia. How do you think officials of government are using vehicles assigned to them? I'm very sure many of you are aware that officials of government, when those vehicles are procured for them, those vehicles are procured only for the use of their official duties as official of government. But what we see and that you know is that Many of them take these cars homes. They use them on the weekend. Some of them who are religious go to church with the cars. Some of them go to visit their girlfriends with these cars. Even after work, instead of parking government vehicle and get in their own private cars to go home, they will not do it. They will use the government car to go visit their girlfriends and to go visit their concubines. This is the behavior. There has been the behavior. And so when the law came into force in 2014, the wisdom, the intention, the goal of the law was to stop this behavior by officials of government. I am just giving you an example of only a vehicle, car. And you know, many of our officials, they don't care. They don't even know that this is a violation. And if some of them know, they just do it anyway because it has become a practice that has been accepted in Liberia. And for the most part, it seems to be no one cares about it. Though there is a law prohibiting officials of government from using government vehicles for any other purposes other than official use, they go ahead and do it anyway in violation of Section 8.1 of the Code of Conduct. And they get away with it. So when we are talking about the vicious cycle of the culture of impunity, officials who are aware of this law or who should be the ones setting the examples are themselves the main violators of the law. And we expect our lawmakers to be the one to checkmate individuals involved, or we should expect the Ministry of Justice or any other agency of government charged with the responsibility of enforcing this law, but they just don't care. They just think it's okay that they can use government facility, government's property for any other purposes. That's why Section 8.1 is not trying, but has come into force to forbid. But no one cares. Most of the officials in government, if not all, they are using vehicles assigned to them for the purpose of their official duties and functions. They use the cars for just about any other reason. If you don't know, it is a violation of the law. And do you know whether or not we will come to a time and place when this behavior will be stopped? No, I don't think so. Because the executive should be the one enforcing this law. But no one is doing that in Liberia. That is a violation. Now let me come to another section of the law. Section 1.3.16 talk about nepotism. It reads, when a public official appoints, employs, promotes, recommends for advancement family members in any agency of government or branch of government in which he or she works, then that person, that official is guilty of nepotism. Are our government officials, many of them, nepotistic? Yes, they are. Yet is the law plain and simple. Let me give you an example that all of you will be able to understand. The lawmakers, the guys who made this very law, this law was passed at the legislative branch of government. The first branch of government passed this law that when an official of government appoints, employs, promotes, recommends for the advancement of family members in any agency of government or branch of government in which that official of government works, it is nepotistic. Then that person has committed nepotism. But the very lawmakers who make this beautiful law are the one employing their brothers and sisters, their nephews, their cousins in their very offices. Leads to talk about the recommendation that they make to other agencies of government. You see how simple the law is? If you appoint, if you employ, if you recommend a family member to any agency, so when you are in government, the law is telling you you are not supposed to employ your relative, recommend your relative, promote your relative, recommend your relative to any other agency of government. Let me tell you, Senator Meton Tiege. This is a clean example, very clean. Meton Tiege, there's an audio tape that is going around. Some of you might have heard it. Meton Tiege talking about before he may decide to confirm a presidential nominee, and he said that has been a culture. That nominee must commit to employing anybody that he will recommend to the person. In other words, the person has to guarantee him or got to guarantee him that, yes, I will employ this family member, this relative, this friend, this person you have recommended. And then Senator Tiege will now come to do everything in his power to confirm that nominee. According to this law, it is nepotistic. And this is not only the behavior of Senator Meton Tiege. This is a common practice. It has been by most, if not all, our lawmakers. And those of you who are from Liberia, you know this for a fact. A man is elected senator or representative. The next thing he know, his brother is either the chief of staff. His sister is the secretary. Or if it's not his sister, a relative, a cousin. These lawmakers are themselves the chief violators of the very law they have passed. So the code of conduct law is being butchered every day by lawmakers who make this law. Leads to talk about ministers, deputy ministers, assistant ministers, and directors. Oh, if the lawmakers who made the law, who are supposed to be the ones ensuring accountability, check and balances in the implementation of the law, are themselves the first violators, you can imagine how the rest of the people, the rest of the government officials are just dancing into violation day after day in our government. And for some Liberians, this is okay. This is no news. This is no big deal at all. Let us do whatever we want. Let us care less about the laws in the country. If we don't respect our own laws that we craft or made, then who are we as a people? Everybody violated. No one cares to keep check on these violations. But let me progress. So I just want to share with you that nepotism is the order of the day in Liberia. From the executive down to the judiciary, and also to the first branch of government. All of our branches of government. Most of the officials are involved in this behavior. And finally, when a public official appoints, employs, promotes, recommends for advancement, family members in any agency of government, that person has committed nepotism. This is the order of the day in Liberia. It is sad. And so, like I said, several lawmakers are guilty of this behavior. So no wonder why there is no check on that. I don't want to talk about the executive. This is what they do, right? But let me progress. Let's come to part 5 of the law, political participation. Let's talk about section 5.1. All officials appointed by the President of the Republic of Liberia shall not engage in political activities, canvass, or contest for elected offices. Folks, do you now see these folks engaging in campaign activities? Do you now see them canvassing during elections? Well, let me bring you something before I continue here. Let me bring you something before I continue. Folks, we have to be serious here. Let's listen to this for a little bit.
Take it to the vault, that I said most time.
When I interview you at
right?
CEO.
Take it to the vault. Thomas Fala is the next senator from Mosurado County. I represent people in Mosurado County. I'm on record. I said when Darius DeLong win these elections, I will not contest 2023. And I'm reaffirming this. I'm telling you, take it to the vault by the grace of God with the level of work that we're doing in this district, in all our different districts and sisters districts, right? You will find the results.
Honorable Kamara, how confident are you that the numbers on the field on Saturday can be translated to a possible vote in your interest?
Yeah, when people is walking from their homes to go and meet Thomas Fala at that distance, then you're confident that people making sacrifices. Okay. When people is chanting that people will not insult the president no more, we prepare.
You can get, and the people can mislead you. They won't fool you. The president went, they made, and they made a chairman of the Ways and Means Committee and the finance minister in the House of Representatives here. They cut the legislature salary. So your answer how much you're making before harmonization, they were making 10,000. after the harmonization slashing and took more than 2,000 for him, he came to 7,000. When the government paid the taxes for the man, the money he can take home, when you take, you go to the bank, the money the man can get, that 5,000, I think, change. Now why he can carry home with 5,000? There's somebody, now let me tell you now, the one Echo Bank can take for that money. Because you owe it, you don't see all that paying that the bank put up, you think he credit from the bank? You owe it some people. That you owe personal money. Those are not making the money. Let me tell you now, when you take 200,000 from the bank, or let's say we take 100,000, and you say you will pay over a 6-year period because you represent it, Echo Bank will take 2,000 from you every month. So that 5,000 that government gave you, you gotta take Echo Bank 2,000. If you take 100, for the people who take 200,000, Echo Bank will take almost 4,000. So when the 5,000 go down, Echo Bank take that 4,000, how many there? At 1,000. What do you? That 1,000 there, you gotta go buy rest, you gotta go buy TV. Then you have the men and humanitarian also there. Now people we can share with our people. When you will be there. So when you say they will call them mayor now, who can get 5,000? They don't say they will take 2,000, but as soon as you can get 3,000. That means the bank will go bankrupt because you will not be able to pay the bank. You all know who money the bank.
We were flogged in Cape Mount. We were flogged in Bong. We were flogged. The midterm came. We were annihilated with political defeat. If anyone tells you that the popularity of our president and the love the people have for him will get him elected in 2023 if the situation does not change, tell them, say, Fangon, say, you damn lie. All right, folks, I'm back with you here. So I brought these videos. The first two talking about Abu Kamara, take it to the vault, Thomas Farah gonna win. That's not the main one I want you to think about. But you saw Samuel Twer, the finance minister, an appointed official in the government, campaigning openly for Thomas Farah. When he was doing that, that was way before campaign was officially open. And the fun part is Abu Kamara said, well, we're going to win. But Van Gogh came and told him, he said, well, we were flogged. We were flogged. Yeah, and there we were flogged. And you had that. So let me bring back to you the law, folks. And this is what the law says. Section 5.1, all officials appointed by the president of the Republic of Liberia shall not A, engage in political activities, canvass, or contest for elected offices. But follow down in the law, if they have to do it, they have to resign 2 years prior. Has Samuel Twer resigned when he was campaigning? No. No. Is that not a violation of the law? But if you think Samuel Twer was just lecturing somewhere, then let me share something with you that will convince you that actually Mr. Twer did not resign, and yet Mr. Twer was campaigning in violation of the law.
we're on the path to reclaiming Montserrat County. Let me tell you a fact that you need to know. The Samuel Kenya Joe Sports Complex has only been filled for a Lone Star game. The only political personality that filled that stadium for a political event was George Mane Weah. At his inauguration, the stadium was filled. For the first time in the history of the country, a political party in opposition.
So, folks, what more evidence do you need? What more evidence do you need that officials of government have been in this behavior of violating the code of ethic, the code of conduct? This is what that has been done by officials of government from one government to the other. And let me tell you about Daily Observer article dated October 30th, 2020. The article talked about when Mamba Molu had appointed some officials of the CDC government on the Thomas Fala campaign team. This Thomas Fala thing, it was so serious that they were not paying attention to any law in the country. And according to the article, notable among the appointees were Major Jefferson Koji, Gender Minister Wilhelmina Piso Sedita, EPA Executive Director Wilson Tappert, and Deputy Finance Minister for Fiscal Affairs Samara Wolokoli, and National Port Authority Managing Director Bill Twewe. The chairman of CDC, Mamba Molu, appointed these individuals in violation of the law. And let me bring the law to you again. Section 5.1, it says all officials appointed by the President of the Republic shall not, one, engage in political activities, canvass here meaning to campaign or contest for elected officials. And if they want to do so, they must resign 2 years prior to that campaign or to that election. Yes, Mr. Samuel Twe, Finance Minister, in violation of the law. Who's going to take action? Lawmakers, you think we're going to call him? No, the lawmakers not going to call him because most of those lawmakers, I guarantee you, in violation of this very code of conduct, many of them have recommended people for appointment, their relatives, some friends. They have even employed their brothers and sisters in their very offices in violation of the code of conduct. So, folks, we are on our own. And the law went on to say, B, use government facility, equipment, or resources in support of partisan or political activities. Do you now see these officials of government using their cars that government bought for official use only? Do you not see them using those cars to go support their friends who are running for offices? Do you not see that? They do that. That is a violation of the code of conduct, and that is section 5.1. C, serve on a campaign team of any political party or campaign for any independent candidate. There was Samuel Twe campaigning. And Samuel Twe is not the only one guilty. We just want to bring you that if the finance minister can be involved heavily into campaign activity, we also want to tell you if Mamba Molu can appoint Bill Twewe, Mr. Jefferson Koji, General Minister Wilhelmina Piso Sedita, EPA Director Wilson Tappert, Bill Twewe, in violation of section 5.1 of the Code of Conduct Law. What else do you want to see before you believe that it is clear how officials of government are in gross violation in broad day of the Code of Conduct law in Liberia. I know this doesn't make sense to some people. These violations have become normalized. We Liberians don't see violation of our laws as anything anymore. And so these officials go about violating laws day after day with impunity. And it has become a culture. It has become acceptable. That is why the society, the Liberian society, is a bankrupt and corrupt society. A society where people have no respect for laws. That society is not going anywhere in terms of progress. So, folks, the violation of the Code of Conduct law is all over the place. It's all over the place day after day. Our officials who should be the one to protect, to enforce the law, are the ones who are in violation of the law. And this is sad. Let me progress here. Let's talk about section 4.10, respect for others' rights. Let me read this for you. All public officials and employees of government shall treat members of the public and other public officials and employees of government honestly and fairly and with proper regard for others' right. Talking about others' right, eh? Do officials of government respect the rights of others in our country? Do you know that? Do you know whether or not officials of government respect the right of others? Well, let me bring you some information here so that we can dive into it. Let me bring you some information here. Let me bring you some information here quickly. Bear with me. So as you can see, let me make this bigger. This is the Minister of Information, Deputy Minister for Information for Press and Public Affairs. He is one of the official spokesmen of the government. And he wrote on social media. And he said, Amin Monda, Munan Fahad, Mo Ali, Henry Pedro Costa, Abayomin Cassell III, that the last settler children yell, he asking question. Then on the right-hand side, he wrote also, Spoon TV expect me to respond to a thing, referring to a human being as a thing, to respond to a thing like Jerome Vardia, a misfire semen of no political value. Can you imagine the language coming from this official of government? Let's compare that language from Eugene Fagon to what section 4.10 of the Code of Conduct law said. All public officials and employees of government shall treat members of the public and other public officials and employees of government honestly and fairly and with proper regard for others' right. He has no regard. He has no respect. And let me tell you, the title for that section says, respect for others' right. In your opinion, did this official of government show respect for the right of these individuals whom he mentioned in his Facebook post? This is a public official on social media disrespecting, denigrating other citizens that he is serving in government. He's serving this individual in government. But yet he chose to go after them in violation of section 4.10 of the Code of Conduct Law. Our government officials, past and present, are bent on butchering the Code of Conduct Law in broad day, and no one does anything. It is just okay. It's nothing. Where are we heading as a people? Well, let me talk about section 4.3, maintaining dignity of public office. Let's talk about maintaining dignity of public office. And this is why it says, all public officials and employees of government shall exhibit good conduct at all times, both at work and off duty. He or she shall not act in a manner against the honor or duty of the service. Come to think about it, folks. All public officials and employees of government shall exhibit good conduct at all times, both at work and off duty. So Eugene Fagon and others who are involved in this behavior of violating section 4.3 of the Code of Conduct cannot give excuse, because the law said at all times, and it further specify that whether at work or off duty, you cannot engage in any behavior. You cannot act in any manner against the honor and dignity of the service you are providing as an official of government. And there are many of you following the broadcast who have fresh memories of behaviors being exhibited by some officials of government. Eugene Fagon comes to mind. He writes in a way that is not befitting of the office he holds. And the law said you can't do it while you are at work, neither can you do it even if you are off work. You should behave at all times. At all times, you should exhibit a good conduct. And when you do not exhibit good conduct at all times, whether off work or on the job, then you are in violation of section 4.3 of the Code of Conduct. How beautiful will it be if the leaders conduct themselves in the manner befitting of the opportunity to have to serve? The reason is we want our public service, our governance process to be sanitized. Let that place be a place that when one serves with dignity, conduct himself in a manner that brings respect to the office. Unfortunately, it's to the contrary. Yeka Kaluba comes to mind. And yes, some Liberians will go as far as possible to justify for his unbecoming, unacceptable, and disgraceful behavior. This is a man like some who denigrate, will speak in a vile way even when he is in plenary. And others' justification will be because he's been provoked. Yeah, it's the law. The law says at all times, whether off or on the job, irrespective of who you are or the circumstances, you must conduct yourself with the honor and dignity of the service that you are providing in government. But some Liberians will provide justification why it is in his right to talk in a vile, denigrating, and unbecoming manner. And that because he's being provoked and because the government is corrupt. So it is okay for him to set bad examples for the young ones that are coming after him. It is okay that his representation to our country should be a disgrace because he's been provoked. The same can be said about Solomon George, a man who behaves in a belligerent way, even when he is in section. The last time I checked, he was one of the lawmakers in 2014 who passed this code of conduct of 2014. But he is in utter and flagrant violation of this particular provision in the law. What kind of country do we want to have? Let me progress. Section 11.3 of the law talks about sexual harassment. A of section 11.3 reads, verbal or non-verbal sexually offensive behavior exhibited by anybody is a violation of these sections of the law. In other words, the law is saying when you are an official of government, you cannot verbally and non-verbally engage in any sexually offensive behavior. You cannot exhibit that by anybody. But let me bring you something that might shock you. Let me bring you something that might shock you. And many of you are following here and wondering, what is this guy talking about? Yeah, it is. Folks, did you see that? Did you see that? I have a reward for somebody who may be watching. The official of government who raised his hand with so much energy and pleasure, who went and he stretched his hand and he went to that lady's button and who slapped it with all the might in his hand, smiling. He did it in public. in view of citizens, in the midst of other officials of government. And it may interest you that the president was at that occasion when that official of government felt that it was okay for him to raise his hand and tap on the button of a female citizen who was performing her duty as a citizen to our country. It was a groundbreaking ceremony. The group Sumontown International was called to perform, as they will always do. It's our cultural dance. Our sisters, ladies, dance with their baton as in other cultures. That is not an invitation to a man or for a man to think that it is an opportunity or it is this invitation. That official of government, in the midst of other official government, in the midst of fellow citizens, never hesitated. In Liberia, they would say proud and thee, with proud and dignity, raise his hand to tap on the button of that lady. That's why he did. The president was there. No accountability for that violation on the part of that official of government. Anybody who will give me the name of that official of government, I have a reward for you. The second official of government who attempted, he followed the lead of the first official of government. And then he tapped on it. They were having fun. You could see they were laughing. But folks, yet is a law. Yet is a law that prohibits that behavior from any official of government. Section 11.3 of the Code of Conduct on sexual harassment is a verbal or non-verbal sexually offensive behavior exhibited by anybody. It's unacceptable. Don't you think that was offensive? The lady did not solicit anybody. She didn't invite anybody. She was just performing her duty. The second official who tapped that sister's baton was Samuel 12. This guy has no fear for violating laws. But I have a prize for anybody who will give me the name of the first official of government. And I know some people will say, oh, the sister didn't get mad. You know, she was just doing her thing. Those are powerful men. What you think will come out of any action that sister will take? Here is a law that speaks against this behavior by any official. But yet, the executive branch of government that should be holding its members accountable on the violation of this law are the one right there, brought there in the midst of citizens and their fellow officials of government. The president was there, and these two officials exhibited the offensive and unacceptable behavior. And I know some of you will come here and rationalize it, will come and intellectualize this presentation. Now, in Africa, this is common. That's what we do when we're coming up. Does that make it right? Even if that was right then, here is a law that forbids such behavior. And you still want to justify, rationalize, despite this law? And some of you will do it because that official of government comes from your political party. We don't care for our laws anymore. It is just unfortunate. But let me progress. We have more to cover. So, let me make this one bigger for you. As you can see, there is an image. Earlier, I told you the president was at that occasion, that groundbreaking ceremony, when those two officials that he appointed, in my opinion, violated that system. And nothing has been done to them. Despite that flagrant violation of the law in the public space. But here is our president. They call him the Feminist-in-Chief. This president, to his government credit, arguably came up with a roadmap. The roadmap, sorry. There's another debate whether or not it's being implemented. There's a debate whether or not they're doing well with that. But there is a roadmap on sexual-based violence in Liberia. At some point, there was a political tension between the vice president of the Republic of Liberia and the president of the Republic. I think there was an effort on the part of the vice president trying to calm things down so that this political train that they had jumped on will continue to journey on in peace and in unity. And so, in her wisdom, it was appropriate for her to go and welcome the president of the Republic when he was returning from a trip that he had made outside of the country. And guess what happened, folks? The vice president has carried flowers to meet the president. As you can see in this image, the president, instead of just receiving the flower that the vice president was trying to give to him in gratitude and in peace, who extend his hand to the vice president boobs. There you have it. Picture usually does not lie, especially this one. See the president right there? I mean, how can someone just be giving you a flower? I am giving you a flower. Yeah, it is. You are before me. Instead of receiving the flower from the vice president, this is a woman you are interacting with in a public space. Mr. President, you could have just received it from her. If you needed to touch any part of her body that is allowed, you could give a hug, probably on the side. But as you can see, the president, instead of just receiving the flower, his hand has gone to the woman's breast. Some people might think I am reading too much. This is a violation. And as you can see right there, in surprise, in utter dismay, you could see the vice president open his mouth in shock. And many of you know when somebody touch you or maybe doing something to you that you didn't expect, the usual response action reaction is because you least expected that. That's what happened to people. If somebody brings a cold bottle of water that is cold, when the temperature is like maybe freezing, and that person takes it and put it on your belly, your reaction will always be, oh. And that's what you see right there. That is what you see right there. She opened, she reacted, oh. Again, folks, I will leave it right there for now and make progress. But let me remind you that the law, the Code of Conduct Law, Section 11.3, they talk about sexual harassment. A of that law reads verbal or non-verbal. So the president was exhibiting a non-verbal. He was not using his words. He was using his action. He was not talking. He was acting. Sexually offensive behavior exhibited by anybody, whether you're president or not, does not make it right. And that is why he exhibited by stretching his hand to the breast of the vice president. That is unacceptable. It's a violation of Section 11.3 of the Code of Conduct of 2014. President Weah was one of those who voted for the law to be passed, if I'm not mistaken, because President Weah went into the Senate in 2014, and it was in that very 2014, this particular law was passed and signed into handbill. So, Mr. President, that is a violation. You have violated the law there again. Let me progress. Section 11.18, public officials and employees of government shall neither engage in nor encourage the practice of the following: lateness at work, meeting and official functions, B, irregular attendance to work, and E, being lazy or idle at work. Somebody may say, what the guy gonna? Many of you know, most people in government in Liberia, they don't go to work. The law talk about lateness. At the government enforcing this law, that people who are in the employ of government to show up to work, how would that happen when the minister, most of the government officials, senators, and all showing up to work as late as 11? Sometimes when it's 10 o'clock that time, you see them coming with their siren. They are late for work. They are late for meetings. The last time when the president went on a county tour, an entire section of the House of Representatives was completely empty. Many of them followed the president on the county tour when they're supposed to be in section. These are people that have been paid. The Code of Conduct law forbids that. The law talks about lateness at work for meetings and official functions, irregular attendance to work, and being lazy and idle. I'll leave that laziness part with you people to explain it. I'm not going to explain that one because many of you know the laziness that in some of these government officials and some of their employees. They just go and sit before the desk. They have nothing to do. No task for them to perform whatsoever. And then you wonder why the government is ineffective. And it's not just this government. The same can be said about previous government. Section 11.16, dress code. All public officials and employees of government shall be attired in accordance with the work to be performed. Let me leave the officials of government a little bit. But they have a responsibility here. Do you not see our police? How our police dressed? Do you not see that? Our police, many of them are not perfectly dressed as police officers. And it's not on them entirely. It is more so that the government and officials of government who's supposed to ensure the provision or the availability of sufficient uniform for these police officers, have no interest whatsoever in these police officers getting the necessary supplies. Talking about uniform before we talk about boots. Some of these police officers, when they dress, some of them sometimes can wear sneakers when it's tough, when the going gets crazy. And come to talk about lawmakers, many of them go to section in anyway. So that is it there for you. Now, let me come to this, folks. Let me come to this, folks. The violation of the law is unbelievable. Let me see. All right, let me start with this one. And let me make it big for you, folks. The same law, section 1.3.2, talk about bribery. We're talking about bribing people. Is prohibited in government. There is a law, the Code of Conduct law prohibits this behavior. Let me read for you. Bribery means any reward or inducement paid to a public official or employee of government for doing or forbearing to do anything in respect of any matter or transactions within the scope of their official duties. It is anything promised, offered, given, accepted, or received by a public official or employee of government for or on account of favor given or to be given in the exercise of his or her official duties, and includes what is known widely in local terminology as cold water or eating. Many of you know about the cold water, right? Let me tell you something. Our officials of government are all taking shower in this bribery. Citizens are themselves involved, and to the greater extent, it might be the citizens themselves who are equally guilty of this behavior. Somebody will go to the passport division to get a passport. I want my passport quick. And so what will the person do? The person at their own choosing will go and bribe those people that have been paid by their government to provide them that service. They will not advocate that that service be provided fast and efficiently. No, for them, efficiency and for them getting their service, getting that goods or customer service satisfaction is for them on their own decision to bribe that person who is in charge of that particular task in government. And even those people in that area of government will themselves solicit bribe, cold water, and eating, the one they are eating, before they can carry on that act. And who is government cares about whether or not this violation of the code of conduct is implemented to the letter, and the violators are held accountable. You think anybody cares in Liberia? No. Who are the ones that's supposed to be in charge of this duty? The officials of government, the Ministry of Justice, the executive branch of government. The ministers should be holding their honor men accountable who are involved and engaged in this behavior. The president should be able to hold accountable those he appoints and are engaged in this behavior. Lawmakers should be able to hold accountable individuals. But unfortunately, the lawmakers are themselves number one when it comes to bribery. For example, Vani Shema, he is the chief briber in Liberia. Barney Sherman has been involved in this act of bribery for generations, to the point that today there is sanction or travel ban on him and his assets being confiscated. Barney Sherman's entire practice of law, this man is a lawyer, this man is a senator. Barney Sherman is aware of this law, and yet his entire practice of law in Liberia has been to bribe lawyers who don't have the financial wherewithal, who are not financially strong in their practice of law. He will bribe them. Barney Sherman has been pretty much the lawyer of most of the concessions companies in Liberia. And the way he has been able to negotiate contractual agreement for these companies all along has been to bribe lawmakers, bribe other lawyers, probably representing government. And this has been Barney Sherman's behavior. This is a man who is not broke. He has some money. And he is the one who indulges in this behavior to the highest order. And he having to be a man of the law. Fellow Liberians, bribery has been normalized in Liberia. Let me read section 8 of this particular law. It reads, a person has committed bribery if he or she directly or indirectly promises, offers, or gives a benefit or reward to a public official or one who occupies any position of trust in any public or private entity in order that that official, person, or entity acts or refrains from acting in the exercise of his or her official duties in violation of the trust reposed in him or her. Folks, you all know it. There is the behavior in our country. It is sad. So, Barney Sherman, let me give you evidence here, folks. Some of you might be thinking that, where is this guy coming with this information? Hold on. I got news for you. Let me bring you information. Barney Sherman has succeeded for the most part in his practice of law because he had long since engaged in bribing lawyers, bribing just about anybody to succeed. You see here, this is the official website of the U.S. Department of the Treasury. It's like the finance ministry in Liberia. You see here? Now, let me read the heading. Treasury sanctions corrupt actors in Africa and Asia. Can you imagine that? The U.S. government, through a treasury, has sanctioned corrupt actors in Africa and in Asia. Guess who's the first on the list? Barney Sherman. You see here? Here is number one. Barney Sherman. He is number one. Corruption in Liberia. Liberia has won world best. Barney Sherman has won world best for corruption through bribery in the world. Lawyer. So if a lawyer is involved in this violation of the code of conduct law in broad day, it has been entrenched. He has had even the entire justice system in his pocket. And this has reached the attention of the US government. They couldn't take it. And so Vani Shema made the first person on the list of corrupt actors who have been on committing bribery, bribing their way through the system. See here? Vani Shema. Hare Vani Boto Nambi Shema, now a prominent lawyer, Liberia senator, and chair of the Liberian Senate Judiciary Committee. First, can you imagine that? The chairman of our Judiciary Committee, Senate Judiciary Committee. Can you believe that? This man should be the man of justice. Senate Judiciary Committee offer bribes to multiple judges. He's not just bribing ordinary people. This man is bribing judges. Offer bribes to multiple judges associated with his trial for a 2010 bribery scheme. And he had an undisclosed conflict of interest with the judge who ultimately returned a non-guilty verdict in July of 2019. Folks, if you read this thing, just go to the U.S. Department of Treasury. You will see it. Vani Shema. Vani Shema. In Liberia, some people call him a prominent lawyer. He has been around for the longest. But folks, this is the disgraced Vani Shema has registered in the pages of world history for our dear country, for Liberia being so nice to him, to have given him the best opportunity or opportunities in Liberia, serving as senator for the people of Kilman County. This man has worth. He has been bent on this behavior of bribing lawyers, judges to get his way through. And because of this bribes, putting edge to it, because he has done it so many times, the U.S. government has to act, because the whole justice judiciary system is in his pocket. This man is the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Vani Shema has earned for himself the title, the Violators-In-Chief. That is what he has done. And so, folks, the Code of Conduct law of Liberia is being butchered by nearly all of our lawmakers, and also most of our officials in government. So currently, due to bribery, Vani Shema cannot travel abroad. His assets and properties abroad have been seized. His accounts have been frozen. There are many people that have envied Vani Shema. This is the example he has set in our country. This man, law practice has been just to bribe people. And some people call him a prominent lawyer. Even the U.S. embassy in Liberia, he used to be one of the lawyers. His law firm used to be one of the law firms that the U.S. embassy near Monrovia was doing business with. Go on the U.S. embassy website right now. They took his name there. His law firm and his name has been delisted because of bribery. So if you are wondering who have been the ones violating the Code of Conduct law in Liberia, Vani Shema is your guy. Folks in cyberspace, I'm Anthony Sier. I brought to you another exciting and informative edition of the Hour of Politics, and we have been discussing the Code of Conduct of 2014, a law that was passed and signed to guide the behavior of officials of government But this law has been violated flagrantly, mindlessly, in any kind of way you can think about it, by all of our officials of government. That has been the behavior they've been involved in for a very, very long time. The law requires that before you take office, you should declare your asset. That won't forget it. They won't do it. They won't do it. Let me bring the other sections of the law to you so I can, try to bring some folks in here who may have some comment. So let me make this one big for you. Here's the law again. Let's read section 5.2, wherein any person in this category, let me read A. Any minister, deputy minister, director general, managing director, or superintendent appointed by the president pursuant to Article 56A of the Constitution, and a managing director appointed by a board of directors who desires to contest for public elected office shall resign said post for at least 2 years prior to the date of such public election. I was talking about that earlier. Let me give you an example. Most of these people that contest for position in government, do you think they resign 2 years prior to that election? They don't. They violate this law. I know of Polita Weir, the CDC candidate then in 2019, who Darius Dillon dragged in that election. She was a minister then at Internal Affairs. She did not resign 2 years prior to that election. It is a fact. She did not resign 2 years to that election in 2019. Barely almost about 2 years ago now. She did not resign 2 years prior to that election. And the same can be said about most of these officials of government. Just pay attention. 2023 is coming. You think if they're supposed to, those who will be contesting, there are some people in this government that want to contest. They don't care to do their calculation. They don't know that if they are to resign, this is the year they're supposed to resign to contest. They will not do it. They will wait sometime the very year of election 2023. That is when they will come to resign. And the National Election Commission, with knowledge of this law, will approve these individuals to contest. Where are we going? Where are we going with this? Where are we going with this? There are people that are appointed. They won't resign. They have interest. They will not resign. This is the year for them to resign, but they will not do it. But folks, I'm not saying here I brought you yet another exciting edition of the Hour of Politics. Here I focus on Liberia. I hope I was able to do justice to the topic. I hope I was able to do justice to the topic. I hope I was able to do justice to the topic. Let me now bring in your comments. Let me put our topic that we have been discussing here so that folks joining us will know that we have been discussing the Code of Conduct of 2014, a law that has been butchered year after year by officials of government with zero accountability on the part of the executive branch of government. Sad times in Liberia. No one cares about any violation whatsoever. Let me bring in your comments, folks. Agata son. Alice Carter, watching from Grand Bassa. Thank you, Alice, from joining us from the homeland. Save the state, Liberia. You just getting to know? Save the state. I don't know if you are asking me, gentlemen. Save the state, but man, contact me, man. You need to come here on the hour of politics. I will need you to be my guest. The legislature is the greatest violator. You are right, and I said that. You almost said that in agreement. Herring Bleakley. I hope I got that right. Watching from the Netherlands. Thank you for joining us from the Netherlands. Mr. Jerome Giltman, an affiliate focus on Liberia, but he is an unabashed citizen. Not almost. They are all guilty. I mean all. Mr. Gilman said I was trying to be a little conservative, sorry, with the facts. Jerome again, he said no, I don't know which one he said no to. Momo Nelson, time is going, guys. I don't know why he mean what you talking about. The time is going. Momo Nelson, empty thoughts again every day. The guy said the thing I'm talking is empty. I gave you the law. I put it on the board for you to read, and you say that empty law. People are violating the law. Only CDC guilty in this law? No. I just talk about Vanny Sherman. I said nearly all the lawmakers. So why are you thinking that I'm saying only CDC guilty? They are all guilty. The Unity Party folks were guilty. They are still guilty today. Miss Pajibo, she wrote, no one respect the law, including the lawmakers. We are in agreement, my dear sister. Pajibo again, they are non-lawmakers, they are lawbreakers. I couldn't agree more. She's basically here. There's no law or order, there's no law and order in Liberia, period. Save the state. So you admit that CDC is guilty of this? Oh yeah, CDC, lawmakers, officials, they are all guilty. Many of them have not declared their assets. The president said he told them to declare, and that's all. The people are not, they have not declared. He said, I told them, and that's all. You're not enforcing the law. Pajibo again, what you expect from a man that is misplaced in government, like cassava leaf seller Eugene Fagon. She is going after Fagon. Pajibo again, he's only writing in a way to keep his job. Job, we are like people like that. Certainly, President, we are those. She's busy here. It's not okay. But in a country with no accountability, that's what happened. I couldn't agree more. Let me hear from the man, Wetton Ketter. Ketter, are you serious, Anthony? Your eyes are deceiving you. The president didn't touch the VP breast or attempt to do so. Today, brother, you are absolutely wrong. That is Mr. Ketter telling me I'm not on point. Well, that's what my eyes saw, and I believe what my eyes saw, my brother. The police are underpaid, plus they can't take any pay on time. That is true. How will they dress properly? You are forgetting about the airport. That time, someone backing at the airport, well, she is making a point there. I don't know specifically what she's talking about. Save the state Liberia, there ought to be an intense investigation into Violet Sherman's shady and unscrupulous dealings that caused him to make his less than starter list. And if found guilty, needs to be unceremoniously removed from the Senate. Yep, people are getting tough here. They are getting tired with this behavior. Harrietta Connor Morgan. I wonder how these people feel or say to their children, bribing to take care of their families abroad, live flamboyant life, and pay peanuts to people that work for them. Wow. I think she meant to say, woe unto them and their children. Eric J. Pajibo, save the state, Liberia's save the state. He's a common criminal and should be treated as such. The likes of Jowia, Twe, Magil, Koji, etc. are also common thieves, and the wrath of the law should come raining down on them. People are talking tough here today. Let me hear from Piwu Tuli Kula. Sorry for butchering you again. Hi, watching you from Ross Island, the Ocean State. Ocean State. There are law breakers in Liberia. I think that person is trying to communicate there. Folks, I hope I was able to read your comments, and I want to thank you so very much for joining us here at Focus on Liberia. Keep your dial set here at Focus on Liberia. where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. And you know, when we bring up the issues here, we don't just come here by just running our mouths. We bring the facts, we bring the law, we set the instances, we cite newspaper articles. You hear their own voices, you see the videos of the things they are engaged in. We don't make things up. Whatever we say here, we look it up. And if we get it wrong, of course, we are human. We may have to apologize. But apology is not in our bowl because we always stand by the facts. Folks, tomorrow, let me share with you what is coming here. Tomorrow, let me share with you what's coming here. There is a program here I focus on Liberia called Roundtable Africa. I am the moderator of this particular program. It comes on tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Our topic is Mancaphonification. John Mancafuri. We will be talking about Mancaphonification. You want to know what that means? You want to be here. Folks, it will be interactive. It will be educational. You do not want to miss it. This Thursday as well, we will have our program called Tough Talking Thursday. You do not want to miss Tough Talking Thursday. Tough Talking Thursday will be here, and you do not want to miss that. Well, I want to say thank you for following the broadcast here. I focus on Liberia. Sorry, I am not taking calls today. I came here to do a piece of job for you to provide my little understanding on the violation of the Code of Conduct law. I hope I was able to give you information that is nothing but factual, and I hope I did not waste your time. On that note, I want to say thank you as always for joining us here at Focus on Liberia. Like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get the necessary notification when we are live and bringing you banners, fair, and factual information. On that note, the song that says we are all Liberians is taking us home. Thank you, folks, for watching, and I'll catch you tomorrow on Roundtable Africa. It will be exciting, I can guarantee you. Don't miss it. Bye-bye, folks.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home. Liberia people. Salut